6 games today, and match 1 starts right now.
This is it. We are jumping straight into things. There is no time to waste. We have a lot of Fortnite action in front of us. If you are just tuning in, thank you for being here. The premier NA East region kicks off right here, right now. We talked about the money, we talked about the bragging rights, but now it's time to sit down and put up the numbers here, put in the work. The Fortress, of course, being one of those contested drops, looks like it's clear.
Yeah, north to south on the split for the bus. A little bit of room for people. We'll keep an eye on the top left-hand corner as Slacks takes down Diego almost immediately. Users also getting knocked in the feed. Confirmation comes through for Slacks, and Sinetto getting on the board here in his first ever FNCS finals. We're swinging over to what we thought would be the contest in the forest, and then we'll take a look. And this was actually going to be my pick yesterday because Clarity G played fantastic through over the course of this entire season. But with Diego and Bizzle moving over, a little bit more questionable.
Tough team to fight. Diego, Bizzle, consistent. Bizzle has found a lot of success in finals, lobbies. This is really where we expect him to do well. Today, kicking things off, not so hot. Slacks and Clarity best him here. And you know, Sleepy Sound, enough room for 2. For 3 teams, though, it's going to be questionable either way across the board.
Yeah, there's not necessarily that much room here, and it was something Bizzle actually ended up taking to social media and saying where it's like, hey, I believe I have the veteran experiments. I can sit here and just grind this out for a week and learn the spot better than these guys. But the guys they're going up against are no slouches. Clarity and Slacks. Clarity has made the final of every single Cash Cup, and I'm not just talking duos. He did it in solos as well.
Yeah, we like to hype up teams and players that do well in finals, but hey,
that's a huge
the true sentiment, yes, that is a huge one. Let's put a pause on that. Death takes out Commandment there, and that means Stretch is by himself somewhere in the mix of this Coney Crossroads. But not only that, there's a team right outside starting to look on in. Tabney and Def, sleeper team, if I do say so myself, going against the big dogs here, and already it's looking great for them.
I mean, they looked fantastic during qualifiers, though. You say sleeper, and that's probably just because we have so many big-name duos who have made it through. Basically, everyone is here in the finals trying to bring it back, but these guys have looked fantastic, and not a bad loadout on the side of Death either. That definitely will enable you to fight early on.
What's really cool is like Tabney is sort of a part of this new era of Chimp, Tabney, Teo, right? These up-and-coming players. The last year or so has been exceptional for them. And like we mentioned, they are putting up the results. That's what's most important.
And you talk about up-and-coming players, have to give a shout-out over to Middle East, which was the first region to wrap up their FNCS today. There was a player who, coming into the season, had 0 earnings whatsoever, took first place going through. So congrats to the Kings duo taking that. But it just goes to show, open ecosystem coming through. Anybody can put the time in, put the effort, and come out and walk away with that absolutely gorgeous new active chair.
That's what makes FNCS so exciting. The new teams, the new names, the new faces. I mean, the European region had 19 brand new finalists stepping in for the first time, getting their chance at competition. Of course, here on NA East, we have our own fair share of folks making their first touching down right inside this kind of high-stakes play environment. In the feed, though, Skittles is going to find one. Skittles and Users, great team coming in, a Collider team. There's a lot to look forward to with these Collider teams because of how explosive that drop spot can be. Same as for anyone landing just outside of this command cavern, but let's take the conversation to Cold and, of course, Scented here. It does not seem like they got into a fight early on.
Yeah, no, it looks like they're just trying to grab the loot and dip, which is something we've seen a number of times when it comes to Fortress. It's not necessarily the best spot where you want to hang around. Unless that first zone drops on top of your head, you'll often see teams rotate back over the bridge because you can farm such efficient metal.
And what we are noticing, just looking at Scented's loadout there, it was about half worn there. Only one big pot, half ammunition that we'd expect. And, you know, again, the loadout not completely full, so it's definitely a wear and tear sign that they are splitting the drop. Booga and Miro, though, exciting team. One of the best drop spots, hands down, even with the removal of the vehicles. Chonkers, Speedway, and look at this, it's playing so well into their loadout. Obviously, this is Vivid's pick for good reason. He was kind of leaned into this pick, and, you know, judging by the way the zones play out, I think it's truly going to determine their success here today.
Yeah, and we'll swap from one pick on over to another, from Vivid's to mine, with Luminosity Gaming, Jumper, Dignitas, Duke, and, I mean, Dignitas, it feels like whoever was doing the signing for them went and did their homework, picking up Miro, P-God, like, just a fantastic outlook. Also have to give a shout-out to 50 Torrents, you know, keeping those guys going.
I was going to say, we know exactly who's doing the recruitment. The man puts in the work, and we love to see it. He definitely has an eye to the scene. And, you know, again, if you are doing your homework, you'll see these teams continue to pop up. But for G2, smacked in Cobalt now. Fight going down here. Great tags. This might be a free pick out the air. One reload. No, that burst rifle only has 20 in the magazine. The one downside to the rifle. But hey, these kind of things happen, and they're going to at least be happy to get all these tags here.
I mean, I think Cobalt actually got the knock. Smack didn't see it in the top left-hand corner of the feed. It went down, and Cobalt's pushing up. Yeah, they did get the knock. So the question is now whether they decide to chase out here because they are relatively close to the edge of zone.
Two Fishing Cavs are a windmill landing team. Cobalt and Smack rotating in late. No sign of Kanat and Agers means they're long gone. So this is a fight that even Kanat and Agers are going to have to be wary of. Cobalt and Smack's late rotates. We're already seeing what could be the potential story that will unfold. Also notice a very rare zone to pull hard west. Not even north, but southern. So this is a unique endgame, possibly already to kick things off for game number 1.
And we're already starting to see, keep an eye on the top left-hand corner. We've seen 2 full duos be eliminated and then 2 solos are out running around. But right now, what's going on, these teams are trying to post up, get some Storm Surge. So while we got a little bit of a break, we're going to kick it on over. SPG, what you got for us?
Hey guys, I know you were wondering where Cold and Scented landed. They decided not to go to the fortress and land at this bridge and the outskirts of the area. They don't want to be contested, but it actually works out fairly well for them as Cold is able to get some tags on the collider and then look towards the fortress. So look for them to play this position in the upcoming games.
You said some tags. That was a lot more than some. I think he got like 150 damage out there. That was fantastic.
Vivid's turning in his bed right now. He's so mad. Clench fists, cue the memes, all of that. Cold and Scented getting away with a great game 1 kickoff already. Thank you for that breakdown there, SPG. Truly phenomenal, and honestly kind of sets the stage for us seeing the success of teams that put in the work.
And we're already seeing a trend from a lot of these duos where it's get relatively near your landing spot, get as many of the shields around you as you can, and then get moving. We already see Bucky and Camp. They are way away from the Bugle where they haven't left all season.
That is true. The Bugle, fun drop spot, exciting drop spot. But it comes with its own pain points if you're being contested there. Obviously, we saw what unfolded between Macwood and Donnie. I think today they still have those same issues, but more on the line now than ever, right? No more chances. You just get 12 games here, essentially. Day-in clicks. Here's a team that easily could have been one of our picks, but the problem is, what day will we get today? What clicks will we get right now? Are they on it? Are they feeling it? Because this is a team that rides the momentum of the mental, right? The energy, everything has to work well for them.
And one of the things we saw over in EU, and particularly with this format, we saw it during the qualifiers and in the round 4, eliminations matter. Straight up. Like, yes, the placement points, 32 for a victory, that was fantastic. Eliminations being +3 means if you're aggressive and you are successful, as we saw over in EU, a couple of record-breaking performances coming through, they will be able to add up. If there's anybody out of this lobby who's not afraid to start flying at people, it's that NRG duo. And honestly, Peterbot and Byla can say the same about them.
Exciting team. Mythical burst in the loadout here. Legendary striker as well. This is a loadout fit for a team looking to pick up a victory royale. Now keep in mind, they are at the Collider. This is the most explosive drop spot that we've seen introduced this season. Launch pads are guaranteed here. Obviously, the mythical upgrades are something that no one's going to want to turn down in this general area. And then, of course, the heals that come out here, the natural rotate straight off of the Collider as a main drop spot point makes this the place of choice to hang out. But finding Surge here can be a bit difficult as all teams are so based up.
Yeah, and now we will see where that next zone will be revealed as it goes through on the left side of your screen. And we're pulling relatively center. One thing to note, as you see kind of the gray spaces on the map, those denote the mountains coming through. And you already see those blue triangles heading straight to the top of it. They want the vantage point on everybody rotating in, as Byla, unfortunately, not able to sneak through some shots on a very cheeky angle.
Man, you're just bringing attention to the players and where they're positioned. Guys, pay attention to how many players are alive right now. We have something called Storm Surge, and this is always going to turn on in the finals lobby. In about a minute or so, damage will be dealt to players who have not done enough damage to other players in the lobby.
Yeah, and so just fun fact about Storm Surge 1, it's actually on in every single game of Fortnite Battle Royale that you end up playing. However, It will only trigger when you're above 70, 50, and 30 players at zones 3, 5, and 7. That's why we always say, hey, Storm Surge, you just got to keep 3, 5, and 7 in mind. You reverse it from the number of players in the lobby, and you keep it in that order for when it goes off. What is Storm Surge? 25 damage every 5 seconds to the duos who haven't hit enough shots. So when we say hit your shot, kid, we mean it, because if you're not cranking that number up, as we still have 95 players up, only one solo rider out there, you're going to be put under pressure. That's why almost everyone we're tuning into right now is even investing some of their stone, building up high, and looking for sight.
This is why every engagement is so important. This is why we really stress those early game clashes. And this is why we call them wins. Even when you just, again, head bump with the team, you don't need to get the elims. You just need to do the damage. That is what's most important, because it will start to add up. For Agers and Kanata, though, this is my pick. It is not looking good. Big wall comes down, the armored wall to protect them, and Agers has to dig into the quick heals here. Will he be able to play for the pickup here? This is not looking good at all right now, as Teo is on the other side of the wall. Here comes the counter edit. He's got to put some punishment down, or he's going to start running out here. Pledge and Teo are not giving this up.
Yeah, and Pledge and Teo, a duo who is more than happy to fight. And I mean, they're even saying, look, chip away at this armored wall, bring it on down. But Agers trying to create enough space. What they'll likely look to do is wait until he commits for a revive and then find an angle to ensure he's not able to stick it, and that's immediately what comes out.
And they are 280 damage above here, so this is really for the points here, for the setup for the future. Agers still has not managed to fully heal up. He has, however, dropped another chug splash. Down goes Kanata. It is not looking good. Pledge got what he wanted. The loot, the material, the everything else that falls from the drop body there. And notice they expended so much metal. So Pledge, Teo seem to be happy for now to claim some spoils, but is it enough to give Agers a free pass now?
And they should get the points for that. Again, the points end up going over to whoever got the knock, not who gets the confirmation on the knock. So 3 points going over because Pledge was the one who picked it up. You can see that on the right-hand side. And they are 216 above. So even with that elimination, though, as we see, 24 players, 12 duos are going to be under pressure, and they might be able to snipe the whip.
This is the most important thing. Kanata and Agers actually land at Greasy Grove to get this vehicle. Now, the vehicle comes a little more damage than the others because you do have to build it back together, essentially. But again, it is so important. And look at this. We have Clicks and Day now below the Storm Surge here. 173. Make that 188. It's continuing to rack up here. This is a team that will absolutely have to fight.
And what they do when they're under Surge, they won't look to rifle. Yes, occasionally they do. They want to get wall-to-wall. They want to get box-to-box. And you can see them eyeing the team right away. The key here is, though, they have had a tough time when pushing in this situation, not taking chip damage from other angles. And you can see that already coming out as Bryce able to get a shot onto him. They're immediately going to shield all the way up, and they're going to take this fight.
Small mistake there made from Clicks. He didn't realize Bryce actually had that side angle, and let's see if that information was relayed to someone like Day, because Day's pushing straight in, face checking Nos in here. So they are in between these two solos, and there it is. More of those side shots starting to come in here. Day is running out of material. He's running out of gas here as well. Surge will be active. The damage is going to start ringing in. They are running out of time effectively here. The longer this goes on, the less likely it will be that Day and Click survive.
And if you're Bryce and Austin, you've already tagged them during this period where they're trying to push up. Yeah, they can just fight defensively and wait. And we've talked about how in NAE, some of these guys are just fantastic defensive fighters.
It's right, here comes the push. Clay, oh my gosh, Clay jumps in a box. He finds a nice little tag there, but no, the whiff, not a full connection, and the Surge comes in, finishes him off. He gets knocked, Day goes down, and just like that, the two get wrapped up from behind. It's Trashy and Glace looking on in to try to get their 2 cents in the mix here, and it does seem like they've also been damaged not only by the Storm, but potentially the Surge as well. So this is going to start to rack up. Other teams, though, potentially under pressure right now. Looks like Qua is one of them.
Tavsji already down 93 below on the right-hand side stretch, also going to fall, most likely to Surge in that regard. It's something we've seen in a lot, whether it's the semifinals, round fours, and he likes to kind of let the lobby come to them in the first couple of games. That'll pick up the pace as people realize, hey, doesn't matter how many tags we get, there's still 96 plus players up at first Surge. As Rokane and Joji get on the board, Agers actually finds D-Roller on the other side of that, so trying to get them back in action.
That's crazy. Agers was solo with Kanata no longer in the game.
Maybe Surge, maybe under Surge pressure, just throwing some rifle tags over. That would be my guess.
And Agers needed it. He was 67 above when the Surge went active, so it was definitely something that he was going to need. 384 above for Acorn and Edgy, looking very solid right now. Loadout in full. I like it. In the feed, though, Larson, Quanti, and Bent go down. Cold starting to get on fire. Jamper finds Elite X as well. So big elims coming through.
I mean, that's monstrous for Cold, trying to get it going. We've talked about how good him and Scented have been. Cold is still kind of one of those newcomers on the scene. Yes, he's been around, but doesn't necessarily have the same level of experience. But hello, Acorn walks right up on top of a duo, trying to find it, and Fable Taco luckily able to throw up the walls, but him and Golden might potentially be caught out here if Edgy can get a little bit more aggressive. Trashy gets the knock onto Shoney. Him and Polo had a fantastic showing for a first-time finalist when they're coming through in the semifinals.
We got ourselves a very cluttered rotate, though, down to that bottom right-hand side. If you take a look at that map, look at how many teams are desperate to get into the collider here. They want to get a free rotate and position themselves up. Right now, out comes the rest. If anyone is positioned off in the distance, they will start looking for free tags there. You see Threats and Rise being one of the few positioned in a great spot. Adrian still in this game as a solo. How is he holding on?
Doing it Mr. Solo Dolo right now, but Storm Surge has turned off after taking its toll. We see Rokane and Trashy get the confirmation on their side. Rokane and Joji lighting up the feed a little bit. I mean, Rokane in particular, we talked about him in qualifier number 3 having potentially one of the best individual efforts, honestly, that I've ever seen. And they're one of my bigger favorites coming into the season due to their initial Cash Cup performance. We got to fight.
One team needs to fall, placement points get given out. It does just happen right there. It's going to be TK who gets taken out for Cold and Scented. This is a big fight right now. They have the zone landing right on top of them. The most important zone, zone number 4. If you don't have to move in zone 4, that is so great because now you get to wait for half in, half out.
Yeah, and part of the reason why zone 4 is so important, as you mentioned, the half in, half out, that's zone number 5. It is the first of the zones that is no longer a concentric safe circle. That means that the safe zone is completely within the previous bounds of the other storm. That's kind of the transition point from the early game into the mid game, and then we get the full moving zones in zones 6 through 9. We're gonna hop back on board. Our defending FNCS champs currently sitting on 1 elimination and some pretty prime real estate here.
Definitely a good spot to be in. A little bit further from the big pack on the right as well, so definitely a better spot than some might think. For Avery and Muzz, though, they're also a team that's positioned pretty decently here. Got to
right
piece of that mountain, right? They do have to get a little bit of that elevation. Other teams are trying to scramble across here. Once again, these are very important engagements, important tags. 2 launch pads in the hands of Avery and Muzz, so it looks like Command Cavern gave them something really great. Might have even gotten that vault to themselves.
And this was a duo who a lot of people were talking about, and it just doesn't feel like they were quite clicking. They're amazing when it comes to individual skills. As we see, Joji picking up yet another pair. Rokane and Joji, they got the bus moving monster right now.
But Miro and Booga are the ones who get all the loot off of AV and Eden right there. So yes, the elims go one way, the points go one way, but the loot goes to Miro and Booga. Very important as we're starting to edge our way to this end game.
And we can already see a little bit of that shift in the pace we talked about, where before we were 24 players up above Surge, and generally after that nobody would fight. We've chipped it down because players are fighting for the real estate. There's only really 2 natural high grounds in here, but right now, Joji and Rokane, they've been active, but they're stuck between Cobalt and Smack, and then they have Booga and Miro on the other side with almost no utility, so they're able to get the 3 eliminations, but at what cost if they don't get the actual refresh from it?
One might say the armored wall's impenetrable, but so are Booga and Miro when they're positioned this well on the edge of the storm here. Rokane, 6 HP, not looking too good right now. Joji trying to lead the rotate here. He's in the front. He has to be the meat shield for the duo right now. The shots are coming in, though. It's coming from multiple angles, but they hold on just long enough to buy themselves some time in the feed. Adrian gets taken out by Haji here, just outside the top 25. Mega unfortunate for him. That's placement points lost.
Yeah, into the top 25 means we're into the cascading placement point. Storm Surge also never even went off. The pace picked up ridiculously, but look at the bottom right-hand corner. We have 3 duos inside the half in, half out. Everyone else is all the way across the zone.
They're going to have to start figuring out a rotation plan here, and sometime soon, Iamzo, D-Gen being one of the few to go ahead and take that first stab at the new zone. They're built up strong and high. Booga and Miro once again find 2 more in the feed. It's starting to add up here. These elimination points, we cannot stress how important they are. 3 points per elim is effectively worth 3 placement spots in the end game. So when you find 2, that's a 6-point jump.
Yeah, we mentioned being in the cascading placement points. Once you're into the top 25, it's plus 1 point. Each duo that then goes down, since you're in the back half of the game, is an additional point being given. So if you're able to just stay on your feet a little bit longer, you're generally in a good circumstance. What we're gonna see right now is everybody sprint to the pads that they hear going down. Because all of these southeastern teams were able to rotate with the collider and the pad that was over there, there should be plenty for people to find as Duke gets a knock on to Igna.
Ignalai is going to go ahead and fall there. Just a knock, though, so he can potentially be safe here. That's his player swatted out the sky. Rokane being left as a solo right now. 13 points earned. Not bad at all for a first game, but can he do big solo efforts here? Clutch up a little bit more. That's what is most important. Take a look at this zone. Half of it is in the water. The other half barely holding on to the piece of land. It's Bugha and Miro who are way out on the side there. Talk about a bold choice from them to stay that far from the pack and not be lobby focused. That's a rarity.
But the difference is if you check the bottom right-hand corner, if the zone pulls anywhere on like the western or north part, they basically win. Everyone now has to rotate past our defending FNCS champions, as Muzz will end up shutting down Rokane and Joji. So while they got it going early on, the 3 elims plus about 4 or 5 placement points coming through aren't necessarily going to be the best of starts, as Bugha and Miro, they're on 3 elims and they got plenty of room.
The cool part about this, they can basically edge their way out just a little bit, go for that late pad and actually play for a high ground. We don't see it very often, but it is a possibility. Slacks and Clarity, however, do have that high ground currently. They are the eyes in the skies. What is going to be their play? Will they play for the recycling of a launch pad? Will they just wait this one out? Let's find out. They go for their own. Looking to double dip here potentially, but no. Instead, they want to touchdown first. He's going to double back. Slacks is trying to get as much information as possible. This is the smartest way to do it. Another launch pad right here. They're going to go for it. Mega's hurt. Chimp is hurt too. And you can see players are going for that shotgun drop down. Spade is going to be one of the few that actually picks up an elimination in the process. Peterbot, Byla still alive. Gold and Aviv still alive there on the front. Clarity G and Slacks are hurt, but they're up and running. And this is an exciting team right here. Cold and Scented are still in the game.
Clarity drops. Demonics on the other side of that. You talked about them being hurt. Well, maybe a little bit too much.
High ground.
Slack, but Pamstone, in fact, the French Canadians say that one's for us. They rip away high ground on the rotation. Chimp picks up DJ, and Nick ends up getting the confirmation on the Clarity. I mean, the French Canadians have been showing up here on NAE.
They haven't stopped going for high ground since the semifinals when they decided they were going to go high ground game after game, and now we get to see them play this height. I love this play by them. It's bold. Ooh. It's a statement maker. It's the way you want to kick off your game number 1, and already they're finding the tags here. This is looking like a win set up for us, written in stone, but again, they have to perform here. Teo is down. Pledge has to play for the heals. Dude, he's got so much to work with, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's just popping sushi over here, chilling, no problem, eating the raw fish out in the zone. But we talked about it. Hey, during the semifinals, Fatch and Pamsa had a game very much so like this, where they looked like they were aloft. They're on the left-hand side of your screen, the bottom right-hand corner. Miro going to work on the backside of the zone, finds a huge shot, needs to dig in and pick up the splashes, and continue moving towards the zone. He wants to pick up a siphon here, but he doesn't have time, and he gets it just as it ticks over. He still needs to catch up to the zone, and Austin, oh, Miro, what was that?
Shuts down Vert with a big tag right there. All he needed was one, and that's a blessing in disguise. The siphon keeps him alive here, a fighting chance, and this is what Miro is known for. This is what the duo does best. Trust in one another to pop off and pick up big points. Spade and Chimp, a team that got second last FNCS are here, and now looking to continue to pop off. Miro is still alive. He gets another one, though, sundown. He is starting to really cook up here.
I mean, I was talking about just the 6 elims on the other side there. Miro's got 6 by himself, 40 more builds, and again, Zone is pulling back around him. This is a fantastic individual movement, and he is hounding these solos.
He's cutting them off right there. I love that play. Aviv, be careful. Miro's waiting. So is Muzz there waiting on the side. He sees the fight breaking out. He knows this is his wall. He's got the angle there, but no. Backs off here with every team that falls. More placement points being given out. Pam and Fatch have the high ground for free. Everyone else is battling. Down come the high ground kings to start battling those in the low. Miro, though, is still popping off, and another one. Down goes Aviv. That's going to bring him on up to 9. Another player in the box. He finally gets crushed, and there it is. Byla and Peterbot now 8 elims in a 2v2.
But down on resources as Pamso and Batch, they've been chilling. Yes, they only have 4 elims sitting on the half, but they want the victory royale to come through. It's not going to matter, though, because at the end of the day, Peterbot and Byla are going to be first place on our leaderboard to the back of the eliminations. But hold the phone, it's not over yet. We talked about this. There it is. Never mind. There's a little bit of panic. Not going to throw that one away as Pam Stout and Batch, the French Canadians, take game number 1.
Hey, Pam's been there before.
Yes,
he might have thrown a game or 2 once in the past, but not today. Not when it matters most. The win comes through for Pam and Fatch there. A huge showing as well. Peterbot and Byla, impressive for them to come on up into the conversation here. We'll take a look at that. It all starts to add up. 6 elims, not too bad.